The first call came on a quiet Tuesday night. Arav was half asleep, drifting between dreams and reality when his phone vibrated on the bedside table. The room was dark except for the pale blue glow of the digital clock. 2:17 a.m. He groaned, reached for the phone, and checked the screen. Unknown number. Wrong number, he muttered, and declined the call. The phone stopped vibrating. Silence returned. Arav turned to his side, closed his eyes, and tried to sleep again. But just as his breathing slowed, the phone rang again. Same vibration, same screen, same time. 2:17 a.m. This time, annoyance replaced sleepiness. "Hello?" he answered sharply. No reply. Only breathing. Slow, deep, heavy, like someone standing very close to the microphone. Arav sat up in bed. "Who is this?" he asked. The breathing continued for 3 seconds. Then the call disconnected. Arav stared at the screen. His heartbeat was faster now, but he convinced himself it was just a prank call, maybe a wrong number, maybe a drunk caller. He put the phone face down and lay back. He slept. The second night. The next night, Arav stayed awake. At 2:16 a.m., he sat on his bed, phone in his hand, waiting. He told himself he was being silly, but a part of him needed to know. The clock changed. 2:17 a.m. The phone rang instantly. Same unknown number. This time, Arav answered without hesitation. "Listen," he said, forcing confidence into his voice. "Stop calling me." Silence. Then, breathing. Closer than before. Arav swallowed. "Say something," he demanded. The breathing paused. A soft whisper followed. "Arav." His blood ran cold. "How do you know my name?" he asked. The call ended. Arav didn't sleep that night. The third call. On the third night, Arav locked his bedroom door. He checked the windows, checked the main door, checked the balcony. Everything was secure. At 2:17 a.m., the phone rang. Unknown number. His hand trembled as he answered. "Who are you?" he whispered. This time, the voice spoke clearly. "I've been trying to reach you." Arav's mouth went dry. "How did you get this number?" A pause. Then the voice said something that made his chest tighten. "You changed numbers last year, after the accident." Arav froze. No one knew about the accident. No one knew he had changed his number because of it. "Who are you?" he repeated. The voice lowered. "I was there." The call ended. Arav dropped the phone. The accident. 1 year ago, Arav had been driving home late at night. Rain, empty roads, music playing softly. At 2:17 a.m., a man had suddenly appeared in front of his car. Arav remembered the scream, the impact, the body falling. He never stopped. The police never found the man. Arav had buried the memory deep. Now it was calling him. The fourth night. On the fourth night, Arav didn't answer the call. The phone rang, and rang, and rang. Then a message appeared. Unknown number. Look outside. Arav slowly stood and walked to the window. The street was empty. Streetlights flickered. Then he saw it, a shadow, standing directly under the light. Not moving, not waving, just standing there, facing his window. Arav's phone vibrated again. Unknown number. I'm standing outside now. His legs felt weak. He locked the window and backed away. The phone rang. He answered. I see you, the voice said calmly. You're lying, Arav whispered. The voice chuckled softly. No, you never look behind you. Arav turned around. Nothing. The bedroom was empty. The call ended. The fifth call. On the fifth night, Arav went to the police. They checked the call logs. The number didn't exist. No tower location, the officer said. It's impossible. Arav returned home shaking. That night, at 2:17 a.m., the phone rang again. This time, the caller didn't breathe. He spoke immediately. "You left me on the road." A tear rolled down Arav's cheek. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I panicked." Silence. Then the voice said, "So did I, when I woke up." The phone crackled. "I tried to call for help," the voice continued, "but no one answered." Arav covered his mouth. "Tonight," the voice said, "you will answer." The call ended. The final call. At 2:17 a.m., Arav's phone rang, but this time, the call was coming from his own number. Hands shaking, Arav answered. The voice was calm. "I'm inside your house now." Arav ran to the door, locked, checked the windows, sealed. The phone vibrated again. A message appeared. "Check your bedroom mirror." Slowly, Arav turned and the mirror reflected the room. And behind him, a man, bleeding, broken, smiling. Arav's phone fell from his hand. In the mirror, the man raised the phone to his ear. The clock changed. 2:18 a.m. And the calls finally stopped. 2:18 a.m. The silence after. The moment the clock changed from 2:17 a.m. to 2:18 a.m., the world felt wrong. Not quiet, not calm. Wrong. Arav stood frozen in front of the mirror, his breathing shallow, his eyes locked onto his reflection. The phone lay broken near his feet, the screen shattered like a spider web. The man in the mirror was gone, but the feeling of being watched remained. Arav slowly raised his hand. His reflection did the same, half a second late. His heart skipped. "That's not possible," he whispered. He stepped back. The reflection stepped back, slower, as if reluctant to let him go. The lights flickered once, twice, then the mirror returned to normal. Arav collapsed onto the bed, sweat soaking his clothes. He didn't sleep. He passed out. The lost hours. When Arav woke up, sunlight burned his eyes. His body ached like he had run for miles. He checked the clock. 7:43 a.m. 5 hours. 5 missing hours. He searched the apartment. Nothing was broken. No forced entry. No signs of struggle. Except for the mirror. A thin crack ran down its surface. He didn't remember it being there. His phone buzzed suddenly. Arav jumped. A notification. Voicemail received. 2:17 a.m. Duration 000. His finger hovered over the screen for a long time before pressing play. At first, nothing. Then static. Then a whisper so soft it felt like it came from inside his head. "Arav, why didn't you help me?" His own voice, crying, begging. He dropped the phone. Arav doesn't exist. The outside world felt distant, like a badly dubbed movie. At the grocery store, the automatic doors didn't open for him until someone else walked through. At a traffic signal, cars passed inches away from him. No one reacted, no one noticed. At work, his office chair was gone. His desk, empty. "Where's my stuff?" he asked his manager. The man looked confused. "Who are you?" Arav laughed nervously. "Very funny." The manager's face hardened. "You shouldn't be here." Security was called, but when they arrived, they walked straight past Arav. One guard shivered. "Did you feel that?" he asked. "Feel what?" the other replied. Arav backed away slowly. His reflection in the glass door flickered. For a moment, he wasn't there. The news report. Shaking, Arav returned home and searched obsessively online. Hospitals, police records, missing persons. Then he found it. A local news article buried deep in the search results. Headline: Hit and Run claims 2 lives at 2:17 a.m. 2. His breath caught. He opened the article. Authorities report that the driver briefly stopped after the accident, then fled the scene. One victim died instantly. The second was later declared dead due to severe internal injuries. Arav stared at the screen. Second victim. The CCTV footage loaded. The video showed his car, the impact, the body falling. Then, something he didn't remember. The car stopped. The door opened. A man stepped out. The man walked toward the injured body. The man leaned down. The man looked directly into the camera. It was Arav, but his face was empty, hollow, like someone already dead. The mirror spoke. That night, Arav didn't wait for the phone. He stood in front of the mirror at 2:16 a.m. The crack widened slowly, like a mouth opening. The clock changed. 2:17 a.m. The mirror rippled. The other Arav appeared. Bruised, bleeding, eyes filled with regret. You remember now, the reflection said. I didn't die instantly, it continued. I felt everything. Arav shook his head. No, I came back. The reflection laughed softly. You came back to watch. The room grew colder. You stayed, it said, stepping closer inside the mirror. You listened to me breathe. Arav's chest tightened. That's why I kept calling. The phone vibrated on the floor. Caller ID, Arav. Arav answered. This time there was no breathing, only silence. Then, come back to the road. Return to the accident. The world twisted. Arav stood in the rain. Headlights blinded him. He was back on the road. The injured man lay in front of him, still breathing, still alive. The clock read 2:16 a.m. The reflection stood beside him. This time, it said, choose. The clock ticked. 2:17 a.m. Arav fell to the knees. I'm sorry, he cried. He reached out. The injured man's eyes opened. The reflection smiled. The rain stopped. Epilogue. At 2:17 a.m., a passerby found 2 men on the road, one alive, one smiling peacefully. No phone ever rang again from that number, but sometimes, at 2:17 a.m., people say their phones vibrate and stop. The place between seconds. Arav didn't wake up. He didn't sleep either. He simply realized he was standing somewhere else. The rain was still there, but it never touched him. Drops froze midair, suspended like broken glass. The road beneath his feet stretched endlessly, disappearing into darkness on both sides. There were no stars, no moon, no sky, only the road. And ahead of him, floating like a wound in reality, a digital clock, 2:17 a.m. It pulsed softly, as if breathing. Arav stepped toward it. The distance never changed. Behind him, something scraped against the road, a sound slow and deliberate, like shoes being dragged by someone too tired to lift their feet. You're early, a voice said. Arav turned. The reflection stood there, not injured, not bleeding, just calm, too calm. Where am I? Arav asked. The reflection looked at the frozen rain. You're in the second you refused to leave. The truth of stillness. Arav tried to scream. No sound came out. The reflection snapped its fingers. Suddenly, sound rushed back into the world. Heartbeat, breath, distant echoes of ringing phones. All moments move forward, the reflection said, except the ones we abandon. Arav looked again at the clock, still 2:17 a.m. Am I dead? He asked. The reflection considered the question. You're unfinished. The first call without a phone. A vibration rippled through the road. Arav gasped, clutching his chest. He felt it clearly now. The call wasn't ringing outside, it was ringing inside him. Breathing filled his ears, heavy, wet, panicked. This is how it felt, the reflection said, when you stood there, listening. Images burst into the air around them. The road, the blood, the man's chest rising, then slowing. Arav fell to his knees. I didn't know what to do, he whispered. You knew, the reflection replied gently. You chose not to. The waiting crowd. Shapes began to appear in the darkness. At first, shadows, then faces. Dozens, hundreds. They didn't look injured, they didn't look dead. They looked paused. A woman clutching her phone, tears frozen on her face. A boy lying beside train tracks, eyes open. An old man collapsed on a staircase. All of them looked at Arav. All of them were waiting. These are not your victims, the reflection said. They are your chances. Arav shook his head violently. No, I can't carry all of them. You already do, the reflection said. The law of 2:17. The clock suddenly grew larger. Its numbers burned into Arav's eyes. 2:17 is not a time, it's a question. The apparitions spoke together, their voices overlapping. Will you stop? Will you answer? Will you stay? Arav screamed. The sound finally came out. Yes! The road trembled. The frozen rain shattered. Transformation. The world folded inward. Arav felt himself stretch, his body becoming lighter, less solid. Rooms flashed by. Bedrooms, hospital corridors, empty streets. Phones appeared in people's hands. He tried to speak. Only breathing came out. Static followed. This is your role now, the reflection's voice echoed. You don't save everyone. Arav focused on one room. A young man sat on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Clock on the wall, 2:16 a.m. The phone rang. Unknown number. The man hesitated. Arav pushed everything he had into the sound. Please, he whispered, don't ignore it. The man answered. Hello? The clock changed to 2:17 a.m. The test. The scene shifted. Rain. A car. Headlights. A figure stepped onto the road. The driver braked. Hard. The car stopped. The man got out, shaking. Can you hear me? He shouted. The injured figure groaned. Sirens echoed. The clock ticked. 2:18 a.m. The road brightened. Arav felt something release inside him. The breathing stopped. Temporary freedom. Arav stood alone again. The crowd was gone. The reflection appeared one final time. You felt it, it said. That's what moving forward feels like. Am I free now? Arav asked. The reflection didn't answer immediately. Freedom, it said, is temporary. The clock flickered. 2:18 a.m. 2:19 a.m. The road cracked. Light poured through. Final scene. Somewhere in the real world, a woman lay awake staring at her phone. The time read 2:16 a.m. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She frowned, then answered. Hello? Breathing came through the line. Not threatening, not cruel. A warning. The clock changed. 2:17 a.m. She sat up. Outside, a scream echoed. She ran. The moment that shouldn't return. Arav opened his eyes. He was in his bedroom, his real bedroom. The cracked mirror, the familiar smell of dust and old wood. the faint hum of the refrigerator in the next room. For a moment, he thought he had been forgiven. Then he looked at the clock. 2:16 a.m. His heart sank. "No," he whispered. The world felt solid again. Too solid. His body had weight. His breath fogged the air. He could feel the sheets under his fingers. Alive. But not safe. The phone lay on the bedside table. Silent. Waiting. The warning. Arav sat up slowly. The reflection appeared in the mirror, not behind him this time, but inside the glass, as if trapped. "I thought I was free," Arav said. "You were," the reflection replied, "for one choice." Arav's chest tightened. "So why am I back?" The reflection's eyes darkened. "Because you answered for others," it said, "but you never answered for yourself." The room grew colder. "You still haven't faced the moments completely." The clock ticked. 2:16:30. The rules change. The phone vibrated once. Not a call, a message. Unknown. Tonight there will be no warning. Arav swallowed. "No breathing?" he asked. "No voice," the reflection said. "No mercy." The walls pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. At 2:17, the reflection continued, "someone else will receive the call." Arav froze. "Who?" The reflection pointed at him. The caller and the called. The clock changed. 2:17 a.m. The phone rang. The caller ID showed Arav. At the same time, Arav felt his own phone vibrate in his pocket. Another phone, another call, another Arav. The sound overlapped, ringing inside ringing. "Answer it," the reflection said. Arav's hands shook as he picked up the phone on the table. He answered. Silence. Then his own breathing. But this time it wasn't coming from the speaker. It was coming from behind him. The other self. Arav turned slowly. He was no longer alone. Another version of him stood near the door. Not injured, not bloody, just empty. This Arav smiled. "You always hated this part," the double said. "What part?" Arav asked. "The part where you realize that guilt doesn't disappear, it multiplies." The mirror shattered. The original sin. The room dissolved. The road returned. Rain fell freely now. The injured man lay there again. But this time the clock showed 2:16 a.m. The double stood beside Arav. This is the real test. Not stopping, not helping. Arav looked at the man on the road. Then what? The double leaned close. Staying. The clock ticked. 2:17 a.m. Sirens were faint in the distance. Too far. The injured man coughed. Alive. Barely. Stay, the double whispered. Feel it. Arav dropped to his knees. He didn't run. He didn't look away. He stayed. The cost of staying. Minutes passed, then hours. The injured man's breathing slowed. Arav held his hand. Tears mixed with rain. The injured man died. The clock didn't move. Still 2:17 a.m. Arav screamed, "I stayed!" The double knelt beside him. Yes, it said, and now you understand. The road cracked open. Darkness swallowed them. The final roll. Arav stood again in the place between seconds. The crowd was back. Larger now. Infinite. The reflection merged with the double. You are no longer the warning. You are the moment. Arav felt himself dissolve, spreading across time. Every 2:17, every unanswered call, every hesitation. Phones rang everywhere. Some were answered. Most were not. The last image. A child lay awake in bed. The time read 2:16 a.m. The phone vibrated. Unknown number. The child hesitated, then answered. Hello? Breathing came softly. Not frightening, not kind, just waiting. The clock changed. 2:17 a.m. At 2:17 a.m., the call never ends. Only the listener changes.